My name is Laurel Marcinkus, and last semester I completed an internship as a reporter for the Ranger News. Now during this internship, I wrote a lot of different articles, but my favorite article that I wrote was about a UW-Parkside graduate student studying to become a research scientist in hopes of curing the life-threatening illness that both him and his fiancé suffer from. That student's name is Nick Malcom. A lot of you probably know him in this room. Does anybody know him? He's a really good guy, right? He thinks he's funny, but not really. And his fiance's name is Haycraft. But what makes this story interesting is that the reporter behind the story, myself, has that illness as well. And myself, Nick, and Alexa, we are all fighting for our own lives in our own unique and very different ways. Which brings me to a question that I have for all of you. What does it actually mean to fight for your life? To truly fight for your right to live? Is it fighting for happiness, justice, freedom? Is it fighting for who you are and the fire behind what you believe in? Is it doing what all of you did right now? Or is it fighting for someone you love? Because you know that without them, life just isn't worth living. Today, I'm going to tell you our story. Mine, Nick's, and Alexa's. And I'm going to tell you about our determination to fight for our lives in the only way that we know how, by saving each other. So what is this mystery illness that we all suffer from? Well, it's called Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, EDS for short. Now, EDS is a connective tissue disorder that affects the skin, joints, and blood vessel walls. There are 7 total types of this illness, but for time's sake, I'm only going to go over the type that the 3 of us share, and that would be the hypermobile type. Hypermobile EDS is defined by hypermobility, or extreme double jointedness, right? Laxicity in the joints. This double jointedness can result in severe and frequent dislocations of almost every single joint in the body. So the knee joint, the hip joint, the wrists, the fingers, the toes, the ankles, even things such as the ribs, yeah, they can dislocate. The collarbone, or even the jaw. Believe it or not, these severe and frequent dislocations can lead to complete joint disc replacements as early as somebody in their teens or even in their 20s. And believe this, it gets even worse. Extreme EDS can cause other underlying conditions, which can cause extreme abnormalities in the heart, the spinal cord, the brainstem, the lungs, and the nervous system. These complications can then catapult severe surgeries, such as spinal surgeries, brain surgeries, and heart surgeries. Now, as you can imagine, when you're dealing with these types of conditions, and you're dealing with these types of surgeries, that makes for life-threatening situations for the patient, right? Now, Alexa, Nick's fiance, I don't know if he's told you about her, but he can't stop talking about her, so I'm sure he has. But she has fought a long and hard battle with EDS that has been very painful for me to watch. She has had surgery after surgery after surgery, and every single time she has fought for her life like a champion. She's had multiple brain surgeries, multiple spinal surgeries, and even a complete spinal fusion. At one point, her spine was so compromised that the spinal fluid within her back was leaking into her lungs and almost suffocating her to death. Now Nick, the guy that I keep poking fun at, sorry, my mom's videotaping, I'm sorry, Nick. His case of EDS is a lot less severe. He experiences frequent dislocations, but he's able to manage those dislocations through vigorous exercise and strength training. Now, as for me, my EDS is a lot more severe than I let on. In fact, most people at this school don't even know that I'm sick. Every day I walk the halls and I look like any normal student. But I experience daily dislocations here. And yet I act like nothing's wrong, and sometimes these dislocations are every single hour. They're very painful, and I'm not gonna lie, they really hurt. But when I do experience a dislocation here, I tend to find a quiet corner and I pop those joints back in myself, without medical treatment, without any help. About 4 months ago, I was sitting in my living room with my mom when I began to feel a strange sensation in my neck. Due to complications of my EDS, the muscles in my neck and head began to tighten, and they began to tighten so much that my airway was completely cut off and I couldn't breathe at all. Now, it only took the ambulance a few minutes to get there, but it was a few minutes of panic. And the only lone thought that I had going through my head as I was trying to figure out how to breathe, and the only lone thought I had before I blacked out was, I'm gonna die. There is no way I'm gonna get out of this. We can't figure out how I can breathe, and I'm gonna die before I get to the hospital. Nick and Alexa are my best friends. 4 years ago, when I started experiencing EDS symptoms, Alexa was the one that said, "Hey Laurel, I think you might have EDS. You need to get tested for it." And I did, and she was right, and I had it, and now I speak about it. When Nick started experiencing EDS symptoms, she told him, "You need to get tested. I think you have this." And he did, and now he's trying to find a cure for it. You see, by urging us to get treatment, Alexa saved us. And now by speaking and by finding a cure, we are saving her. If you have a problem in life, I know that everyone in this room has different circumstances, but if you have a problem in life and you are struggling right this second, and you are walking down this dark, damp, lonely road and it's foggy and you can't see and you feel like you're completely alone and you are sinking to the ground because you feel that there is no solution, no way out, then with all due respect, I think this story proves that you're wrong. If we have a problem in life, we always have the option of creating our own solutions. When Alexa first got sick, Nick wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a scientist. He wasn't even an adult. He was just a kid. He was a teenager. He was a teenager, afraid of losing the person that he loved. And he was walking down that dark, damp road, but he got up off of his knees and he said, "I am not gonna let her suffer. There is no solution, then I will make one. If there is no cure, I'll find one. If there is no future, I will build one for her from the ground up." And he has. He has kept that through and through, the whole way through. And as for me, I speak. I speak anywhere and everywhere that I can. And I will speak in every corner of the world if I have to, because I don't want anyone ever to have to be lying on the ground clutching their throat like I was, afraid that they're gonna die. I don't ever want to see anybody have to go through that ever again. So I will fight for people like Alexa, and I'll fight for friends that I have that have this illness, and other people with disabilities, and anybody that I have to fight for, so that nobody has to feel like that. Because my greatest fear is not dying from this illness. My greatest fear is dying from this illness without using it to make a difference first. Because if I don't make a difference with this, and I don't speak when I can, then what is the point of any of it? What is the point of the pain and the suffering and the Alexa having to go through surgery after surgery after surgery, and Nick and I having to watch. What is the point of any of it if I can't make a difference? If he can't make a difference? And if Alexa can't make a difference? If you are walking down that dark, damp road, don't let it control you. Pull out a flashlight and control it. Because when you are in darkness and you can't see a way through, you don't need to see the light. You don't need to find the light, because you have the light. You always have. It's inside of you. And all you need to do is pull it out and follow it. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? I threw a lot at you. No? Okay. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for listening.
Have you found the medical resources? Does it help? I mean,
Like
I
what?
want to know what the current medical
Treatment?
treatment stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Currently, so what we do is EDS patients, we go to a special type of physical therapy where it's basically strength training. So we try to build up the muscles around our joints so that our joints don't pop out. And that obviously your muscles in your joints, they hold in your vital structures. So they hold your spine in place, your head, your neck, even your organs. So we try to do a lot of strength training so we can try to build that up. And unfortunately, a lot of times, men who have it, it's a little bit easier for them because men naturally have more of a, they have more of muscle mass. So it's a lot easier for men, but we still try all the same. Yeah.
What were your symptoms that made you discover it?
Oh gosh, what's funny is I've had these symptoms my whole entire life, but it seemed to get worse. I was diagnosed with this particular illness after high school, so it seemed to get worse as I was getting older, and I was always double jointed. But as I started getting older, the double jointedness became abnormal because my limbs just started dislocating for no reason. And that's how the symptoms really started. And so I kind of went on my journey of trying to figure out what was going on. So yeah. Anything else?
You're brave.
Thank you.
Yes.
So are all of you. I enjoyed all your presentations.
Well, you did a good job.
Yes, Mom.
As a mother, I would like to know, are you going to sleep well tonight?
Yes.
She may not show it, but she was a little nervous this week.
I'm not nervous, Mom. Come on.